Eren Yeager is initiating the largest conceivable human tragedy. Completely succumbing to hatred, he moves to annihilate all humanity beyond the walls of his home. But this he could not have enacted on his own. He took the aid of his friends and that of his devoted personal militia, the Yeagerists, and the home of which is Floch. Because this is genocide, and because the show's own visual language frames Eren and his followers in the black, little wonder then that consequently Floch has been seen to be the current evil of the show. Good greetings. In this one, let us attempt to decipher who Floch is, why he has decided to act as he has, and why I do not think he should be reduced to the plain label of monster. A recurring motif in the series is that of the little boy staring up at a bird in the sky, a representation of the thirst for freedom, the quest for wealth, to not be cattle holed up in pens, but to be one's own liberator. This subtext is the wings on the Survey Corps uniform, what their emblem represents. This is the ultimate end goal the entire series has been building up to, and now it is in sight, now that the conclusion is nigh. What was the cost? The scouts were a force comprised of infantry personnel equipped with the fictional gear, enabling them to move in most directions of three-dimensional space. ODM gear. They were among the bravest and best of Paradis service troops, as their duty was to venture forth into the world to attempt to reclaim that which humanity had lost, freedom. They were referred to as the spear of humanity, the embodiment of the phrase, "We are our own liberator." Is it not a powerful image? Floch found himself part of this unit in Season 3. His initial introduction, passing him off as no more than your typical outspoken, if not abrasive, anime boy. There is really little difference between him and Jean, besides the stage that the two came across Eren. Nothing suggests that this character will be particularly important or interesting. He's just another guy. In the third season, during the massive operation to retake the Shikanshina district from Zeke, who had returned to Monkey and the other two Titan shifters under his control, in which Floch was deployed, his character serves to demonstrate the nerve-wracking impact of warfare on soldiers like him, who hitherto had not faced any real combat. He breaks down. He is weak. Marlowe has to motivate him to do so much as stand. Is this the sight of a fighter or a survivor? Observe this image, let it burn into your mind. Floch does survive, and in that survival he realizes the deception. To die for a greater cause, for an honorable goal. The sanitized ideals of the scouts that were preached to them are nothing in the face of inevitable eradication. They are propaganda. This was the true face of war. As he looks around him and sees that all are dead, he realizes that the only thing that could give it meaning and make it worth pushing through is some kind of point, manifested in the form of Eren, the demon willing to push forward humanity's agenda no matter the cost. There is need for a demon to proceed, is what he exclaims. Consequently, he stands against the insubordination of Eren and Mikasa. He wants Eren reanimated in the place of Armin. It was in Eren that he saw the ideals of pushing forward no matter the odds and no matter the cost in their most polished form. Eren and his sidekick are grieved at the loss of his other sidekick, and being more motivated by pain and personal feeling, they are unable to see the bigger picture. Understandable why they would feel that way, but selfish nonetheless. This character thus serves his first thematic function. He calls out the unfairness of the scouts and their system first, of the main trio elevating their own personal trauma above all those who died secondly. Us, as the audience, so inclined to side blindly with those whose story it seems to be, to us must now question whether that necessarily is the right thing here. This is the reason Floch causes a stay at the memorial, because his character is evolved. Now Floch represents a counterforce to the hypocrisy the narrative displays by the inherent nature of many narratives, the framing of the protagonists as the people who matter most above all others, intentional or not on Isayama's part. He stands up for the honor of those who died charging against the monkey by pointing out that he is sure they all regretted being there. He is truthful. The truth bites, and oftentimes, as in real life, we prefer to brush it aside and surface our anger and indignation. Mikasa and Eren do not realize or regret the selfishness of their actions in trying to force Levi to effectuate what was best for them. They are punished, of course, but that was purely physical. Given an encore, they would repeat the exact same actions. Critically, Floch becomes the source of moral condemnation on our protagonists. In some sense, us, the audience, who supported their bid to have Armin survive rather than Eren, this is why there is so much anger against him. An idea thoroughly and altogether flipped on its head in the advent of Eren's attack on Marley. In this instance, Floch becomes exactly like the main trio, and us, the audience, in that he gives in to his feelings of being right, because his perspective is the only one he sees, rather than consider his own bias. It has been said he has become a cautionary tale as to the effects of radicalization. Instead of branching away from the self-justification in the idea that the protagonists matter above all, Floch folds into it. So where he previously opposed Eren, he now ardently supports him. And this is how it all means something, what they went through. Vengeance is the recompense for all their suffering. I punch you, you take a swing back. I throw a bag of litter at you, you retaliate. Simple. Because driving the scouts always was their leadership's philosophy of matter the cost. We know now why Eren pursued such a rough method. How about Floch, who only saw the ruthless drive to push ahead? All he inherited was the spirit, not the reason. So now it is Paradis Island above all. It is no surprise why a character like this can be branded a devil, why he invites so much hatred. The fact is, Floch is a crow. He makes no attempts to be likable to the main trio, which doubtless rates those who like him. The strong backlash is that Floch is unkind to those we like, and ever in his methods a thick layer of malice drapes his actions. You see, Floch may have evolved mentally and gained more fortitude from his experiences, but emotionally this character is deeply affected by the cycle of violence, and scarred like everyone else in this show. He is not above gloating and completely reveling in the cruelty he inflicts on others. May thinks this may have to do with the fact that, since he knows the true pain of defeat, when he does win, he really wants it to steal. It is petty and reprehensible, with no qualms about taking life. Floch will command with an iron grip. Not to mention his belief of genocide being a viable solution. For all intents, the show seems to be framing a villain, an irredeemable man with no human sympathy, until you realize the same applies to all these characters. They all have done evil things in pursuit of their goals. Call the goals righteous, call them necessary. This show portrays just how corrupting and heinous war is, from torture to murder. Very few of these people are moral beacons. Distinguish, dear viewer, between Connie or Hange and Floch. Where Floch delights in murder, so he is worse? Are we really going to say that because we dislike someone's personality or conduct, their actions are therefore worse? Indeed, considering how the majority of things seem for Eren like there is no tomorrow, despite his being the very generator of the whole stupid genocide route to begin with. That is the message I am getting here. In the case of genocide, we only side with the Hange-Magatha alliance because our morals conform to theirs, not because there is an objective standard that expresses that genocide or even Zig's euthanasia is wrong. We side with them because we too believe it is wrong. Who is to say the alliance is wrong, but who disagrees with them? Who is to say they are right, but who agrees with them? Who is to say the egoist is wrong, but who disagrees with them? Who is to say he is right, but who agrees? Floch displays many of the same characteristics our heroes have: brave, remarkable will, skill, and zeal. You do not realize it yet, but he reminds you of a certain other devil.
The anguished fallen! Their lives have meaning because we, the living, refuse to forget them! And as we ride to certain death, we trust our successors to do the same for us! Because my soldiers do not buckle or yield when faced with the cruelty of this world!
But because he is not our protagonist, because he is not someone we like, therefore we automatically strip the D and brand him an evil. Floch Forster is not a hero. but his daring last-ditch charge against the Azimuth into a ship is punctuated by an interesting theme. Yeah, the theme does begin with Falco's transformation, so it could just mean it was placed there to herald the new Geo Titan. However, that it continues to play while Floch confronts two Titans and the leader of the Scouts all at once is telling. This is heroic framing, whether you like it or not. Floch Forster is not a hero, but he resonates the charm and charisma to push his men to fight despite the odds, to pursue victory. For Paradis, comrade, don't you remember Shinsei Sasageo? For Odia, for the sake of our children and families, comrade. Floch Forster is not a hero because his morals and ideals are not in line with our own. He is not a hero because our perception of a hero is not a radicalized sadist who revels in being oh wait. No, actually, it is, but it's only okay when Levi does it because he believes what we do. So it's cool. Floch is not a hero because we do not see the road of Attack on Titan from his side. Rather, we see it entrenched in our own, and from that of Armin and Corny. So they are our heroes, and we are not willing and we will not budge from our moral standpoints. Genocide is wrong, so we will not even entertain the chance that Floch can be our king. For clarity, I am with you. I do not condone genocide and think Eren's actions are abominable. But see, that is exactly the point. The world of Attack on Titan is people so drilled into their own ideals and so unwilling to shift from their perception of what is right that there is no compromise, only violence perpetuated against each other. Just like us. And just like ourselves, these characters see their side of morality and hold it to be the universe standard. Because they are like us, is it any wonder that their world, minus the fantastical elements, is exactly the same as our own? It is not a victory of a Floch that you aren't and you likely never will be able to consider and appreciate his side. It is a loss for all humanity. It is just the show's themes being emphasized through you. We all like to think that placed in the situations of our favorite fictional characters and fictional stories, we would behave differently, and we would have the enlightenment and understanding these people lack to bridge the divide. Well, here we are, with both sides of the story, yet as biased as ever to our own principles. Floch is not a hero, but Hange is. Magath is evil, but Eren isn't. Next you'll be saying Pick is not best girl. No, in the world of Attack on Titan, you'd be no different from any of this. A hero Floch Forster is not, but to us, to his men and to their ideals, certainly to Paradis, this man is a king.